Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the next episode of the Money Is Show. This week we have an incredible guest named Glenn Stormberg. Flew all the way from Fort Worth, Texas to be here. Left heat and got into more heat as he got here. And Glenn is the founder and CEO of Stormberg Investment Group, which is a group that specializes in turnkey properties in 4 different states right now. Currently looking to expand in some other states. But they have a very, very unique niche market that's totally different from your normal turnkey houses that are out there. I absolutely love it. I have a little bit of experience in what he's doing, and I fully understand the cash flow and the positivity of the cash flow by doing it his way. So on that note right here, we're also going to talk about the author of the book, and we'll bring that up in just a second. But on that note, Glenn, appreciate you coming to the show.
Andrew, thanks for having me, man. Great to be here.
Excited that you came out. We just missed you like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
At the Power Room.
Yep.
I think you were scheduled to come out and then last minute change. So I was excited you came out for the show, and came from Fort Worth, but it's not where you're originally from. Where are you originally from?
The Chicago area. I grew up in Elk Grove Village, suburb of Chicago, and went to college at Western Illinois, and then after college I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area right after college.
Now, being from Chicago, and obviously, I have a lot of ties back in the Chicago market. Does that make you a White Sox or Cubs?
Definitely Cubs.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Not even close, man.
I was always Cubs.
Cubs fan growing up as a kid when Ryan Sandberg, Mark Grace, Greg Maddux, Sean Dunston, you remember him?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my dad grew up 3 blocks from Wrigley Field, so I used to go to my grandparents for the weekend. We'd go to 2-3 games at a weekend.
One of the greatest stadiums ever.
It's awesome.
I love baseball, but obviously at my office, I love history too. Yeah. And when you tie history and baseball together, it's like perfect for me. Yeah. And I got some original, it reminded me, I'll show you, I have an original brick from Wrigley Field, Fenway Park, Wrigley Field, and New York Yankee Stadium.
Absolutely.
Of like the 1912 or something like that. And Wrigley was a fun time growing up. And it's such a cool stadium because it's like right in the middle of a neighborhood. Normally they're sitting off on a freeway and then take like White Sox Stadium, right? Right off the freeway, right? And Wrigley has that really cool hometown feel to it. For sure. That also probably makes you a Bears fan then.
Absolutely. My dad was a season ticket holder for 35 years, something like that. Yeah. So I've been to a bunch of
Soldier Stadium.
At Soldiers Field, yeah, absolutely. And it's some cold games there too. Some cold games, yeah. So.
and unfortunately, a lot of losses for a while.
There was a lot of losses there for a period of time.
The poor Bears, man. Yeah. After Mike Singletary, it kind of went all downhill. With Ditka and Singletary left, but
got the one in '85, and then after that, they should have won more, but they didn't. So that is what it is. But.
Okay, so you went to college. Talk to me a little about growing up in Elk Grove. Was it middle class family, poor family, wealthy family? Where was it like for Glenn?
I'd say we were middle class.
About middle class?
My dad was a mason contractor.
Okay.
Grew up in a nice suburb, like Elk Grove was a real nice suburb, and so forth. And good. My dad was a good role model. He was a good role model. He worked really hard. I remember getting up early in the morning. He'd be doing blueprints in the morning, stuff like that. And it was good too. He gave me the bug to be an entrepreneur too.
It's funny because with kids and so forth, right? It's funny. I probably, you didn't know at the time, but as you said that statement, I thought to myself, I probably learned more from my dad by observing than I did, and he was a teacher, so he was constantly teaching me and stuff, but I learned more from waking up as a kid, rolling out of bed, and my dad's already up, fully dressed, showered, doing stuff, working, and I'm just rolling out of bed. And he never said anything to me about it, but you look back on it and it's like, now I do the same thing, probably the same thing as you. You learn so much from a great role model in the home there. So what question I had was, did your dad, was he a person that was, or your mom, was it more of a thing where they were trying to drive you and say, hey, go to college, the typical path, right? Go to college, get a good education. Was that there?
Absolutely.
It was there?
Absolutely, yeah. It was like I was a labor for 7 summers.
Okay.
And I think my dad kind of tricked me. He goes, man, because I don't care if you go to college or not, but if you don't, you'll probably do this the rest of your life. And I go, man, I don't want to do this because I knew how hard of work that was back at the time, right?
Yeah.
8-inch blocks, throwing them up 3 levels high and following it with mortar up and down, and sweating your butt off and stuff. But so I did go to college, and I think I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
As I say, where was it from? And I have a brick story I want to come back to in a second. But before I do that, it's like you had this dad who was a kind of entrepreneur, but also wanting to go to college. college. How did those two like mesh right there? Where was he instilling the entrepreneur bug in you, or did you just observe it? And...
Absolutely, instilling the entrepreneur bug.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like, I mean, I didn't have a clue what I was going to do when I got to college, of course, but when I went to college and so forth. But it was just one of those things that I thought, yeah, you got to get a college degree. And yeah, college was, you know, when I look back at it, you know, college was great. It was great time. Best, you know.
Love it, right?
I always tell people, saddest day of my life was the day I graduated. It was the saddest day of my life. I go, man, this is over, you know, and stuff. Yeah. But you know, when I look back at it, and this is what I tell people too, you know, I probably would have been better served getting a mentor if I knew I was going to do real estate and business, stuff like that, right? But I think I learned two things in college. You know, compound interest was really good working for me, really bad working against me.
Yeah.
And I did have to take a public speaking class because I used to be afraid of, you know, like I was petrified at first. You know, I'm an outgoing person, right?
Yeah.
But I was getting up in front of people, and so I learned public speaking, which turned out to be good. But outside of that, I don't think I learned anything else in college.
I was going to ask that question. You know, now with culture, I grew up the same way. It's like go to college. Now with culture changing as much as it is, and the freaking inflation of like what college costs is insane, right? Like it's insane. And then the government has control of the student loans and all that stuff. But are you a big with kids now? Do you have kids?
Yes.
Yourself? Do you try to still push them to go to college, or where you sit with it?
Absolutely not.
Not right now.
Now,
okay.
if you know, obviously, if they're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something, you got to go to college, right? Yeah. But if you want to be you know, and I'll say why too, because I was able to make enough money in the summer to pay for my college.
Yeah.
I was able to make enough money in the summer. Of course, I was lucky. It was union wages as a bricklayer's labor in Chicago. Yep. And so, but today, kids are going $250,000 in debt. And really, they're not learning what they need to learn, right? Well, I think you're much better off, you know, getting a mentor. If you know you're going to be in real estate, you know you're going to be in business, you know, you're much better off getting a mentor. And but by the same token, college is good. It's a chance to grow up and so forth. But no, I don't think everyone should go to college. I think that was always a myth.
Yeah, I haven't hit the point of with kids telling them which way to go yet. But right now, as I think through it, I just think that. My kind of opinion, minus if you have to have it for a license or whatever, is, hey, if you want to go to college, I totally support you. Just understand you're going there to have fun. Like, just enjoy it, and it's just an extension of high school, just a little bit more freedom that you can enjoy. But as far as like you go in there and trying to become summa cum laude, like I just think you're wasting your time right now.
Without question.
Of doing it.
And if you're going for a liberal arts degree, don't do it.
Oh gosh. And what happens now, the other negative of what's going on now is that I think that kids are getting addicted to kind of this free money from the government on the student loans. It's like, oh, fill this paperwork out and we'll give you another 50 G's.
Kids don't know they got to.
And they don't understand, and that's why they're in college now, not 4 years. They're graduating, and it takes them 6 years to graduate now, and it takes them longer to graduate with a 4-year degree. Right. And part of it, I think, is because it's like, oh my God, if I leave here, I'm gonna have to go get a job, and there's no more a loan that I don't have to pay right now, right? And I think it's done some harm for sure to that generation who got kind of in that, and it just hit where it hit, where it's like, oh well, you're gonna go to college and leave with $225,000 worth of debt and a liberal arts degree. So congratulations, right?
I totally agree.
I do agree that I think college is super fun. Man, I had a great time.
Best time of my life.
Best time of my life. Like you said, the worst day was when I had to walk across. I'm like, wait a second, I should fail right now. But man, good time. So you go to business. How did you get into real estate? Did you go to another business first or straight to real estate?
No, actually what happened was I got a job out of college with IT&T, which was a big company at the time, big corporate America. And I got promoted 3 times, and I was making no money. I go there, I knew I wasn't a corporate guy then. I just knew corporate America was not where I wanted to be. I always knew I wanted to have my own deal down the road, and so no, I answered an ad out of the paper to sell mobile homes.
Oh wow, that's how you did it.
That's how I did it. And the guy said, yeah, I can make $100,000 a year, and I could as a salesperson.
So you saw an ad, you were in a phase of like a lot of people go through, the kind of the frustration mode of like, my God, what am I doing? This is very frustrating. You've already had the promotions, and you're in that phase, and you're kind of looking, but not aggressively like, I'm quitting my job tomorrow and I'm gonna go. You're just kind of looking to figure out what's there, and you come across an ad in the newspaper about mobile homes, selling mobile homes.
That's it.
And you were so you said, hey, you hit him up, and you went to this job to go sell mobile homes, almost like an agent, let's just say, in theory, like an agent to go sell mobile homes.
It was a mobile home dealership.
Okay.
Just like a car dealership.
Gotcha,
right?
gotcha.
People come in,
and you
deliver them, sell them, and so forth. And yeah, what floored me was they offered me as much in draw as really as I was making at my corporate job.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, well, they must believe in what they're doing. So I said, all right, I'll give it a try and see what happens. And
how many years ago was that? We're 2021 right now. When was that?
This was back in 1982.
82. Okay.
Yeah,
so you go through the process of selling mobile homes, which gives you now. I'm connecting dots here because that connects like so much deep understanding of the product, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Right. When do you start Stormberg Investment Group?
I started Stormberg Investment Group in 2006.
2006, you start that.
When I started, yes.
Okay. Any other businesses you start before that?
Well, yeah, I actually had Clayton Homes it was like a franchise. It was called a partnership model. That's the company Warren Buffett bought.
Yeah, yeah.
And that tells you a lot about mobile homes too, because Warren Buffett doesn't invest in stuff if it's not good, right?
Yep.
So, but I had like a franchise with Clayton Homes for 15 years. It's like a partnership where they covered all the bills, the expenses. We were 50-50 partners, stuff like that. And it was a great experience. And they're a great company. They're a great.
Again, it makes sense of all the knowledge you have, in-depth knowledge that you have, and what you guys do right now in your niche, right? So you start Stormberg Investment Group in 2006. Still kind of inside that. I'm gonna use a couple words here, and I want you to tell me which was the right word, right? I'm gonna use the word mobile home, trailer, manufactured home, double wide. For you guys, I mean, all those are right words for describing different things, but for what you guys do, is there a certain word that you're using out of those?
Manufactured homes.
Manufactured.
Really, okay, so just for the definition, okay, the definition, a mobile home and a manufactured home are the same thing.
Okay.
They cleaned it up because it sounded more professional, right?
Okay.
I think that's where the industry changed that. Now I will say this too. Prior to, we always use about 1990 as the
cutoff date.
The cutoff date, right? Before that, a lot of the stuff was built substandard. You know, back in the 60s and 70s, mobile homes were built terrible. I mean, they were built. You know, it could be 2x2s in the walls. So there was a time there was no HUD inspections on them, stuff like that. Around 1990, they really picked up and really went to site-built home construction, right? The big thing was the flooring, OSB flooring, OSB or plywood versus the particle board flooring they used to use. Because the particle board flooring, if it got wet, it would start going like this. And then really, if you look at manufactured homes today, you can get I'm talking about any amenity that you can get in a single family home. So, I mean, some of them you would never have a clue you're in a manufactured home.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't know. So
because my knowledge of mobile home manufactured homes was kind of, I told you, a buddy of mine, mentor of mine that I kind of interned with, owned like 180 of them, but they were all the older models. They were 90% of them were all the older models of 1970s, 80s models, right? And like you said, I remember they'd move out, and he owned all of them as well, so they'd move out and we send the crews to go rehab them, and they were 2x2s in the walls. And like you said, it was the particle board, and I can't tell how many freaking floors, and we're like this, so you either had to carpet it with a bunch of padding, or if we tried to tile, they had to go use remember that, they still have it, the VCT tile, which kind of like floats tile, if you will, like a rubbery tile type thing. But now later, you get into, like you said, newer homes right now, and dude, you cannot tell a freaking difference at all if you're walking into a manufactured home or a single family home.
Not at all. And I'll tell you, it was an interesting thing. My dad, this was probably probably back around 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. He was a mason contractor, and he did some building in Chicago and stuff. And so he's well adversed in construction. He came and looked at about 15 of my properties, and he went, man, these are built better than most of the track houses in Chicago. I said, well, that's good to hear. I knew that, but that's good to hear. So,
From an outside opinion. So you find this little niche in manufactured homes. Okay, tell me about a little bit deeper on what Stormberg Investment Group does.
Okay, so what we do is we're in 4 states. We're in Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. We're growing. We're going to go to some other states too. But once again, like you said, not mobile home parks. We don't do mobile
you don't do the parks.
No mobile home parks. We are buying existing mobile homes that are on land. Okay, they're usually a half an acre to an acre tract of land. They have a deed of trust or a mortgage, just like a single family house. Okay, An important thing is people ask me, well, do mobile homes appreciate or depreciate? And the answer is both. If it's a personal property mobile home, they'll absolutely depreciate.
Okay.
If it's a real property manufactured home, they absolutely appreciate them. In Texas, properties we bought in 2012, 14 in that area have more than doubled. We used to buy, we used to be in them for $60,000 all in. Now they're worth $150,000, $200,000.
For a manufactured home.
Because the single family home has gone from $150,000 to $350,000
Yeah.
to $400,000. So they absolutely appreciate when the land's included. So kind of our model is we buy the home on the land. We fix it up like new. That's the key. That's the key to what we do. It's like new. And when I say like new, it's like new when we're done. New carpet, new paint, new air conditioning, new appliances. If it needs a new roof, new septic, whatever it needs, we get all that stuff done on the front end. And then we put a tenant in every one. We have a full-time property management company, and we put a tenant in there, and then we lease them out, and the model works fantastic. Reason our investors like it is we tell them that our model pretty much is that you are 100% passive. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is wire the money to the title company and look at your statement every month, and the money will be there. And that's all you do. We do everything else. We do all the heavy lifting, and they can go do what they do.
So tons of questions here, but I want to back up a little bit. And it's probably a little bit of a bigger question is what made you go into the turnkey model with this manufactured home? Was it an opportunity you saw, a need for it? What made you kind of go that direction?
Both. It's like when you're growing a company, like my model is, and what we try to do is we want to hold all the properties we can. I believe that's how you build wealth. Okay? You build wealth by holding real estate, not by fixing and flipping. There's tremendous tax advantages. The appreciation we've seen in America now. If you don't hold the houses, you're not going to get it, right? But the turnkey model was something that. Like I used to fix and flip.
Yeah.
Used to fix and flip double wides. Okay.
Okay.
Up until 2008. Okay. And so. And this was forced on me because in 2008 when the crash hit,
right,
you couldn't give a house away, right?
Yeah, I tried.
I tried. The banks froze, everybody, the capital markets froze, and everything else. And so it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, though, because what we did was we put tenants in the houses. Like I say, and the need was we saw an opportunity to not only, instead of fix and flip homes, right, to where you're bringing in capital to grow your business and so forth. There was tremendous need for investors. Investors love it because then when they own the house, they get the tax advantages, they get the appreciation, they get all that good stuff.
Depreciation, appreciation, and cash flow.
The whole
three
thing.
wonderful words in life.
They can build wealth too, right?
Yeah.
So it turned out it was just.
So you got into the market of holding them from a standpoint of you were fixing and flipping them like I was, but you were still doing the manufactured homes. Plus you did other stuff, new construction, other houses, but you were flipping them after the crash. You can't sell them, so you just naturally turn them into rental properties.
What happened was this: I was fixing and flipping mobile homes out of my house with no payroll, no employees.
Yeah, just you, yeah.
Yeah, and I was doing about 3 a month, averaging $30,000 per unit, right?
Yeah.
Life was good. It was like I go in, this is really good.
What could go wrong?
But I paid a fortune in taxes.
Sure.
I paid a fortune in taxes. When 2008 hit, didn't have a choice. Had to put tenants in it, and it taught me that I wanted to have, and I'm always hesitant when I say this word, a recession-proof model. Okay, my attorney says a recession resistant, right?
Resistant.
But I believe this. Okay, no matter how bad things get, there's two things people are always going to do. They're going to eat first, have the roof over their head second. We have the most affordable roof, right?
Yeah.
So I believe it is pretty much recession-proof because and case in point, in when COVID hit, right? We just went through COVID, right?
Yeah, just went through it.
And what happened was our collection rate was 97% throughout COVID because people had to downsize when they lost their jobs. People got out of apartment complexes, they didn't want to be around people, but our demand for our product went through the roof. It was 3 times what it was.
Because there was a massive freak out of landlords.
Total freak out.
Oh my God, landlords, I was getting calls left and right from apartment building owners and so forth, freaking out over what's going to happen. And you guys floated at 97% collection rate.
Throughout all COVID, yes.
Yeah.
But I got a great team.
I can see why. I mean, obviously, kind of going through that, I'll use the word recession proof with you. When a recession hit, which you could call COVID a recession, people have to naturally downgrade. They don't upgrade during bad times. They downgrade during bad times,
absolutely.
Right?
They're scared.
And with yours is not, hey, come and move into a mobile home park downgrade, because some people just do not want that life at all.
Absolutely.
Yours is coming to a manufactured home, which is very single family look, feel, taste to it with some land on it as well. So I could totally see why during COVID recession, you guys actually stayed strong through it. Makes total sense.
And plus, a lot of our homes are 1,500 to 2,200 square feet, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people, of course, were working out of their houses now instead of going to offices, so they wanted more square footage, which they can get a lot more square footage for the
Bang
dollar.
for the buck, right?
Absolutely. So it was all.
When did you sell your first one? So you were buying them for yourself at that time. You were doing it for yourself. When did you say, "Hey, I'm going to sell one of these to an investor"? When did that happen?
The first one we sold was probably I lose track.
Ballpark.
I lose track of time. I'm thinking 2010.
Okay, so you did it for a while. You did it for yourself. Did it for yourself. Did it for yourself.
Fixing and flipping, holding. We've always used private money.
Yep.
We've always used private money, but yeah, we turnkeys. Yeah, I think it was around 2010.
2010.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
That you did it.
Yeah.
And at this point now, catches up to 2021. You've done. Under management right now, you have 500 of these in the 4 states.
Correct.
Under management. Right. Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here with you, okay, as an investor, and I want to talk to you about maybe some viewpoints, questions that are going through, a listener's, a viewer's head of, wow, I don't know if I could ever invest in a manufactured home, right? I want to talk about kind of that devil's advocate side of it, and let's have a authentic conversation about
Absolutely.
it, right? Number one on turnkey is like there's turnkey providers, like it was a craze and it exploded. Turnkey providers freaking everywhere, all over the board. One question that I would always ask if I was going to invest in a turnkey house is why should I invest in your operation, because that's really what I'm investing in, versus ABC or XYZ over here operation? What do you think makes you guys different from that standpoint?
We have in-house property management, and we're really, really good at it.
Yeah,
that's the difference maker in turnkeys, in my opinion. That's the difference maker.
Especially turnkey models when you're doing them out of state, right?
Absolutely.
Because when you do turnkey properties out of state, people I think get hyper focused on that house, and what they should be hyper focused on is the management, because
Absolutely.
you can't drive to it and go fix something because you bought it 7 states away from you. Therefore, you are 100% reliable upon who is your partner there in that location. It's all going to come down to your management, your property management team, your partner that's there. So to me, the hyper focus, I agree with your answer 100%, is as a turnkey investor, you should look at the management team more than the house, I think.
Without question. It's not even close. Not
Yeah.
even close. I mean, you can buy you can buy houses in any area, right? But to me, and I'll use me as an example, right? Like I've got IRA, I've got IRA money, and I've got a private lending business that I do.
Sure.
And in my IRA, I can't invest in my stuff, so I invest with other people. And to me, it's all about the operator. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I know him, like him, trust him? Do I trust his operation?
Yep.
Does he have the management in place? And
Then I'm going to go look at the house.
That's exactly right.
That's how I would 100% go do this thing. And I've seen so many stories and done so many deals. It's insane of how this works of the turnkey provider side. I'm a big supporter of the turnkey providers because they are providing a solution to other people that don't have the wherewithal right now. Not brain power, but just time or flexibility, or they live in a different state. They can't do it, right? So I'm a total believer in the turnkey model. I just think the focus should be on the management from the investor first, and then, okay, let's go look at a property and pick one of these out. But do I want to deal with that management company there? Or am I getting kicked off to a third party that's just a local provider that I can go use, right? As devil's advocate, let's talk about the manufactured home for a second, right? Let's say I'm a turnkey, I'm an investor, and my brain is like, oh, I should buy a house, right? Because I live in a house, I grew up in a house, right? So I know it's single family homes, and my idea is like, oh, I should take my IRA, whatever it is, and I'm gonna go buy this turnkey house, and I'm looking for a single family home. What would you tell that investor that's coming to you saying, hey, let me show you some of the advantages of manufactured homes over single family homes? Okay. What would you say?
I would say, first of all, take a look at the buy-in price.
The purchase price of the property.
Purchase price of the property.
Okay.
Ours is going to be a third to a half of what a single family home is.
Yeah.
Take a look at what the rents are. Ours is not going to be as much as the single family home, but it's not too far off. And so our numbers are much better.
The spread, the yield.
Our spread's much better. And really, the quality of the property, you and I were talking about before about Gary, Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And it's coming back and revitalized everything else, but there's some properties there that are just, people buy turnkeys in Gary, Indiana all day long, right?
Yeah.
And I would say, okay, take a look at the house in Gary, Indiana, and take a look at one of our manufactured home double wides that are 1,500, 2,000 square feet, and then tell me what you think.
For sure. And I think one of the things that if I'm a turnkey investor, right, that I would want to kind of think through is, I think it's important for the turnkey investor to make a decision on what are they looking for. Are they looking for cash flow, right? Or are they trying to play like an appreciation game of real estate, right? Because those are really two different types of strategies, right? You have the cash flow strategy and you have the appreciation strategy. Do they overlap? Yes, there's some overlap in them for sure. But I think this is a mistake that a lot of newer investors kind of make when they go out and buy a rental property, is they just think about their own house that they live in, and they kind of base it off of that style, and they kind of go buy that type of rental. Where to me, it's more important there's certain questions that I would ask that I would want to know as a investor. You're an investor that you don't just turnkey, you're an investor, you own your own properties. Number one, I want to know, what am I looking for? Do I want cash flow? Because to me, that would immediately point me to a manufactured home. Because the yield and spread, you're not going to be able to touch it with a single family home. It's just not going to be there, that spread, right? Number two is I'm always going to look at what state am I investing in? Meaning what laws are in that state as a landlord.
That's for sure.
Right? I want to know, because there's a thing called tenant-friendly states and landlord-friendly states. And they're not the same thing.
They're not.
They are not the same thing. I did a ton of houses in Indiana as rentals, and that was a landlord-friendly state.
Absolutely.
I could throw a rock and hit Illinois state line. Yeah. And you couldn't give me a rental house in Illinois because of the tenant-friendly laws. And what's amazing is, I know you know this, the only person that knows tenant law better than my summa cum laude college graduate is the freaking tenant. It's the only one who knows more about tenant law is the tenant. Yeah. It's insane how much they know about it, right?
They do.
But those are things that I would look at, is the state's laws. And you name states, Texas, Georgia, North and South Carolina, right? And I can tell you already that those are landlord-friendly states that you're sitting on right there.
Absolutely.
Super landlord-friendly states.
That's the main thing we look at before we go
100%.
into an area. And because if we do have to evict someone, which we don't have to very often, but if we do, we usually get them out of there in 3 weeks.
Yep.
And there's some states you can't, if you
6 months.
6 months, a year.
You could foreclose faster.
I hear horror stories. It's crazy. So that's a huge factor.
Yes, massive factor there. Right. Do you see, and now I know I talked earlier about the cash flow advantage of a manufactured home, but manufactured homes, it's not that they don't appreciate, because they do appreciate.
They absolutely
right?
appreciate. Yeah.
So it's not that we're saying, hey, if you do a manufactured home, you're not going to get appreciation. You're going to get appreciation in it. I'm just trying to say, as an investor, think this through. Why are you buying a rental house? Like, what are you wanting out of it? And my opinion is, if you obviously want the tax advantages, right, of it.
Yes.
But to me, if I buy rental, I want cash flow.
Okay, so here's my take on investing, and I do this with everything that I do. Okay?
Yeah.
I want cash flow on every investment.
Yeah, what am I missing?
Why not? I mean, like, to me, people that are buying properties just speculating on appreciation, I mean,
it's a roll of dice.
They're playing high-risk poker, right?
Yes.
We've had a tremendous bull market.
Put on black or red.
We've had a tremendous bull market here in the United States, right? There's no doubt about it. I mean, a blind person could have made money here, right?
For sure.
So that's a given, right? And you know something's coming. I mean, I don't know when, but something's coming, right?
Do you have the feel
yes.
of 07 internally?
Absolutely.
I had this conversation yesterday. Like,
absolutely.
I'm on such it doesn't make sense what's happening, and internally it's like, dude, I feel 07, like, where it's not mathematically, logically making sense, but it keeps going.
And here's why I know there's still a shortage of housing in America.
Yeah.
Which that's a crazy thing too. There's a shortage of housing. That's why the build-to-rents are getting so popular. Everything else. But the problem is the affordability factor. There's so much of the inventory people can't afford, right? Yep. So the shoe's got to drop sooner or later. Prices cannot keep going up forever.
Mathematically impossible.
Plus the government's printing. I mean, think about 2008 when they did the bailout, right? Mm-hmm. That was $800 billion. And
we lost our minds.
That's a rounding error now, right? That's a rounding error. Now they're talking, now it's trillions and trillions and trillions.
We're just past 6 trillion total.
It's incredible.
In like 12 months. 6 trillion in like 12 months.
Yeah, so something is not, I mean, we're in uncharted territory. I'm not smart enough to tell you what's going to happen. But I know this, and this is what I learned in 2008 in COVID, right? Is that I want to be in an investment personally, okay, that's as recession-proof as possible, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're in a affordable, rentable house that's People, because what happens is when a crash happens, people can't buy. Banks freeze, like we talked about.
Yep.
Banks freeze, everything else. So more people have to rent.
Yep.
And so it's like,
and they're trying to go lower than their mortgage.
In 2008, in most places in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you have to lower rent. You'd have to even lower.
Oh yeah, no.
Rent stayed steady or whatever.
I always say when markets crash, rents go up.
We were actually able to raise some rents during COVID because the demand was so strong. So that's to me. And I do believe this though too, right? The beauty, and I think I said it before, but holding real estate, that's the key to wealth, right? Because you're going to get the tax advantages. Your appreciation is going to happen. I always say this: milk, eggs, bread, and butter, and real estate go up over time, right?
Yeah.
Look at any chart for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, it's going to go up over time. We've had a crazy deal where it's gone up for the last whatever amount of years here, but it's not going to last forever. But cash flow is the key. Cash flow is king.
I talked a little bit about this earlier. I know you went through a crash in 08. I went through a crash in 08, and I was a fix and flipper. Fix and flipper is all I did, right? And I was just, like you said, just killing it on these fix and flips, right? But when the market hit, crash hit, recession hit, it froze. I mean, like froze.
It was like someone turned the light switch off. It was gone.
Like that fast, right?
It was gone, right.
It wasn't a slow. It was that.
Yeah.
And I got stuck holding this bag, basically, of all this hard money loaned houses.
Right.
Couldn't not forget selling them. I couldn't give them the freaking away. That's what I told you. I was like, I couldn't give them away.
Yeah.
And I crashed. I burned. I lost everything. It was a brutal time. But one of my best friends up in Chicago, his dad increased his wealth during this time, and he did not fix and flip. He only bought and hold. And bought and hold, and bought and hold, and bought and hold. And when I actually moved back up there to intern with him because I wanted to learn what he was doing, he was sitting on about 300 houses at that time. And he'd been collecting for about 20 years and just bought and held every single one of them. Some had mortgages, some didn't have mortgages, right? And I was stepped back and thought to myself, okay, this is crazy. We're both going through a recession. It's the same recession, right? It's not like it's a different one. It's the same recession. Yet my money went to zero, lost everything, and this guy's money just keeps coming in over and over. And during the recession, in that 1 year that I was with him, that I signed on for like an intern, if you will, with him, he added 200 houses to his portfolio in a year. 200. Right. Because at that point, I know you went through it. His little local banks, community banks, were hitting him up because they all knew him, and saying, hey, we have this portfolio of 25 houses. Would you want to take it over?
Absolutely.
We'll give you this loan on it. Give us 20% down. Crazy stuff, right? And that's when I realized, like what you're saying, oh man, you better get that cash flow. I would choose cash flow over appreciation.
All day.
Without a question. Like I wouldn't hesitate.
And the appreciation will come when you hold it over time.
Agreed.
It's going to come. But cash flow is the king.
Start with cash flow on all of it, and then to me the appreciation is a cherry on top.
Matter of fact, I still, like I say, I cannot understand why someone just invests for appreciation. I don't understand. No. That's foreign to me. I don't get that.
Yeah. Later I'll tell you a funny story about California investing when I first got started off and how I got fired from my first job. Because I totally disagree with this guy's concept and he fired me. But it was on speculation investing. And hello, I was right.
Absolutely.
But I want to go back into your stuff. So devil's advocate here, when it comes to the manufactured home, people may say, last kind of question I have on this is, well, the manufactured homes are going to be cheaper. They're going to be, they were built in a factory and moved out here. What's kind of your response back?
I would tell people, go to a factory, go look for yourself. They're using the same materials as a single family home.
Yeah.
Same flooring, same siding, same 2x4s, same 2x6s, same, a lot of them are tape and texture, a lot of them, you've got the exact same components. And I'll say this, because I grew up around construction, right? Mm-hmm. When you're building a house, right, weather, Chicago weather hit big time, right? Snow, rain, whatever, and all that stuff. These are built in a factory where, the wood's not getting warped. There's not stuff happening and there's more inspections in a manufactured home plant than there really is in a single family house. Uh-huh. There really is. Throughout the thing, that it's got to be tagged. It's got to be.
It comes out approved.
It comes out approved. It will not get that HUD seal unless it's approved, right? So, it's the same components. It's the same. I feel. No, they and people ask me this question all the time too. Like how long will a mobile home last? Forever.
Yeah. If
you take care of it, just like how long will a single family home last?
Right.
If you take care of it, it'll last forever.
The thing that I would probably bring up at this point is, we do a ton of development here, and even so that the viewer understands, even apartment complexes now are moving into manufactured somewhere else. Absolutely. And they're putting them together like Lego pieces almost, but they're coming out sections at a time, and which is the same thing the manufactured home is doing. They're doing it now for the apartment that a $100 million complex is coming out of a factory and being assembled on site.
And here's the other thing too: the affordability issue in America. Yeah. You can do it more affordable in a factory when you've got
streamline it.
You can streamline it. You save with labor. You save with everything else.
Labor, weather costs, all those things.
And I believe in the next 10 years, more and more housing is going to go to manufacturing.
Well, that's what I want to talk about next is affordable housing, right? Just all across America. We're in Utah right now. Affordable housing is just brutal right now, right? Because when I say affordable housing, what I'm referring to is kind of that starter home, right? The family is getting their kind of first home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's your typical, medium income level property. And here we're seeing it where those properties have almost doubled in price. They were like say 200 to 250, and now they're sitting on 400 to 450 for that starter home. And now it kicks in this affordable housing crisis because houses have went like this. In price, but income has stayed as this, right? And it's doing this right here, right? So there comes a point where this can no longer afford this, right? And you're seeing it more and more right now all over the place, right?
No doubt.
It's a big, big issue all over America, and I'm a big supporter of Ben Carson, who was put in charge of HUD, right? In 2016-ish era, was put in charge of it. Love Ben Carson, great. I just think he's a salt of the earth guy. He took over HUD, and he's a huge component of manufactured homes.
Absolutely, he's a big fan, and he thinks, his exact quote I believe is, "These aren't for trailer parks anymore." These are, and that's why they, it just. And I think what has to happen is this: there's a misconception among the zoning people too, right? And like I said, I speak all around the country, and I'll have a slideshow of like how many people I'll show a 1970, the ones you're talking about, a 1970 old mobile home, right? I said, now how many people think this is what a manufactured home looks like or a mobile home looks like? 80% of the hands go up, Bing. Right? And the people in the zoning departments think like that, right? Yeah. They don't understand how nice they are, right? And I think if they did, they would loosen up the zoning. Like we're good in all counties, right? But in the city, they won't let them in cities, right? They just won't let them into cities. And it's like I say, it's so ironic because these are built so much better than some of the older homes out there that are in the city.
For sure.
It's crazy.
I think in the affordable housing, something's going to have to give, and there have to be this like another level of housing that comes in at just a more affordable type of price. Obviously, the market can dip and change, but even as we just get more humans on the face of the planet, housing is going to have I'll just say it for right now, like a new age of kind of housing. And the two that I see is tiny home style and this manufactured home, because of the production value and how fast you can produce and what you're producing and the quality of what you can produce in the manufactured home. Therefore, the price point is different, right, for the manufactured homes. But again, you know what? Honestly, I think as people understand how good a manufactured home is, I don't know, maybe in 10 years if we come back to this conversation, manufactured homes cost just as much as single family homes because people finally realize a manufactured home is in some areas better than a stick-built home.
It's going to take some time. It could happen. It could happen, but it's like it's got a long way to go to catch up.
It's got a long ways to go.
And the bottom line is, like I say, whether it's rent or whether you're buying or renting, it's just there is just not much out there that's affordable, right? For the starter family. That's why so many families are living together, right? So many families are living together. People are living together. They have to. They don't have a choice, right?
They can't make the monthly payment. So you put two families in there, if you will.
Right.
You have more money to pay the monthly payment of the house.
Yeah. So I think affordable housing is when you can do it, it's the best place to be. It's the safest place to be, and I believe it's the best place to build wealth.
If people, viewers watching, want to know more about the manufactured homes, the model, the turnkey model, et cetera, that you're doing over there, where's the best place for them to go?
Our website,
Just your website, okay?
Yeah, www.stromberg, STROMBERG, investmentgroup.com. We've got stuff on there, and there's information. If they want more information, they can hit us, and we'll be happy to call them, contact them, and so forth, and go through things with them. We got videos videos on there,
Okay.
and there's
You got houses they can kind of look through.
there's some good information on there.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's more of an overall general because the houses are so different all over. But yeah, we can get them any information they need. Absolutely.
Awesome. So again, we'll put in the show notes, but StrombergInvestmentGroup.com, and we'll have it in the notes as well.
Right.
I want to talk about your book for a second, and I'm going to try to think. Let's do your book first.
Sure.
You wrote this book right here with a buddy of yours, David Phelps.
Correct.
You and him co-authored this book together here.
Correct.
Private Lender Secrets Revealed in it. What made you write the book?
You know, it's like America's been indoctrinated with the stock market.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, just, the stock market. Where do you invest? The stock market, right? Well, I disagree with that. Okay, I mean, the stock market's had a great run too, and I'm not saying the stock market's all bad or anything like that, right? But I'll give you a real example for me. In my IRA back a long time ago, I hadn't been in the stock market since 2004, 2006, something like that. And I had some of that good MCI WorldCom stock, like $15,000 worth.
Oh man!
I woke up one morning.
That Enron, you should be set.
I didn't have that one. I missed that one, but I saw the CEO being taken away in handcuffs.
Yeah.
And I go, that's not good. I looked at it, went from 15,000 to 200, then went to zero. I go, what just happened to my money?
Yeah.
And so here's my take is this, and this is kind of what we say in the book, right? I don't care how bad things get. A house never goes to zero, right? Never goes to zero when you've got a good product that people can rent. So there's so many people I think that would want to invest in real estate, but like you said earlier, they don't have the time or they don't know how to do it, and that's what this book talks about: joint venturing, right?
Okay.
You find an operator, you bring an investor together, you do a joint venture together. You both make great money, and you both accomplish what you want to accomplish, and that's kind of what the book talks about. So
I got you. Was writing a book a big goal of yours, or you just kind of stumbled across it?
It wasn't, but it was really cool. I really enjoyed doing it. I'm getting ready to write another book too. So I'm getting ready to write another book too. But it was actually fun for me. I actually enjoyed it.
I'm gonna put you in the spot here. Can you, if you know it yet, are you allowed to say the title of the new book you're working on?
I don't even know it yet.
You don't know it yet. Okay.
So I know the theme, but that's
I got you. Yeah, you're still in the vision mode of cooking upstairs. If they want a copy of the book,
go to our website.
Same thing. Go back to the
our
website.
And here's what I always do. Okay, we'll send it to you free of charge. Okay,
An actual copy.
We'll send an actual copy of the book. Yes,
okay.
we will mail that to you free of charge. But a mutual friend of ours, Eddie Wilson. I'm on the board of directors for his. It's called Christian Media International.
CMI. Yep.
Tremendous. I know you.
Yep. I donate.
You donate to them. I do too. They're doing great things, feeding people, help spreading the gospel, whole thing. So I always just tell people if they feel led to give a donation, 100% of the money goes to Christian Media International. We don't keep a penny.
Awesome.
We're not using that. But if they don't want to, if they just want the book for free, I'll send it to them for free.
So send it for free, an actual hard copy, not a digital copy, but an actual hard copy.
Actual hard copy. We will
go to your website.
We will mail it to them. Yes.
And then the only thing you ask if they feel obligated to donate, and it all goes to charity.
Absolutely.
CMI.
Absolutely.
With Eddie Wilson. I want to ask you the question I always ask everybody, which is, I want you to tell me one of the hardest struggles that you went through in business, one of the hardest things you had to go through, one of the biggest, whether it be a failure, whatever it may be, and then I want to know that, and then I want to know how did you overcome that right there?
Okay, so it was twofold, and it all happened around 2008.
Okay.
Right? The rug got pulled out from under me, right? It just, my world changed. I was crushing it, then all of a sudden I wasn't crushing it.
Yeah.
I go, what do I do? Man, this was a scary thing, right?
Yeah.
And then, it turned out to be our model now, right? It turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me, but there was a lot of pain, a lot of suffering that went with that too. The other thing I'd say too is that what was critical for my company and the growth of my company was to put in an entrepreneurial operating system, right?
Okay.
If I would have never done that, we went through the EOS, the traction process.
Traction, sure.
If we wouldn't have done that, there's no way we could have grown, put the processes in place to go where we're going. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just I didn't understand that. I was I was brought up and to learn that you as a businessman you work your butt off, you do it all yourself, and that's not true, right? The thing is, like, I'm a natural born visionary. Okay,
Yep.
All the books, the charts, everything else, but I'm not a
operator.
I'm not a COO, an
Implementer.
operator. And the greatest thing, like I say, Melissa Hammaker, she's my COO. It was like God put her in my life. It was like boom. It was like she the test they had for that, she got 100 on it, and she runs my company. She runs the company. She runs the operations. I kind of cast the vision. We have a weekly call, go through it, and it's putting the people, like Traction says, putting the right people in the right seats, but I struggled because I was holding on to so much, and I always say this, but it's funny, like I always thought, like I knew accounting, operations. I knew I was no good at that, right? But like acquisitions, I go, man, I can't give up this. Man, I'm the world's best here, you know. And everyone I hired was better than me, you know. And I go, this is crazy. So you realize So yeah, I went through a lot of struggle, a lot of pain in those, in those two areas, and then once we fixed it, everything's been great since then.
I think that kind of what you hit on right there, that point is, I think it's one of the biggest struggles, failures of entrepreneurs is what you hit on. I struggled with it for probably a decade. I'm a full-blown visionary. It's hard for me to live even a year in advance. Like I'm 10 years down the road of things I'm working on and making moves for. And but then I had to come back and I was trying to then manage day-to-day operations of this company over here. And it was absolutely brutal, just brutal. I feel like I was running my head into a wall and hated pieces of my life. Like I want to make sure you understood what I said. Hated moments of my life.
Totally
hated moments of my life. And it wasn't until I did what you said, and I was like, okay, there's got to be another way around this. And it's the operating system that people miss.
And a mentor of mine, and I always say this because it's so true. And it was like a life-changing moment for me. He said, business really isn't that complicated. He said, take out a piece of paper, draw a line. He goes, put the stuff you like and you're good at, put the stuff you don't like and you're not good at, and delegate that stuff, dummy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple, right? You just, if it's like, and I try to use that as the acid test. If I don't love it, if I'm not good, if I'm not, just delegate it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I got to do. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think so many entrepreneurs tend to be more of a visionary, big picture type people for the most part. That's kind of how their DNA is wired. They're seeing things that other people aren't seeing. They're seeing opportunities that other people don't see, and they're making moves toward it.
Right.
And then they come back and try to then operate their way through it, and it is a disaster. Absolutely. Right? And I know there's times where you can't afford it because you're just starting sometimes, but as soon as you can.
And you just hit the nail on the head. And this, to me, this is if you're ever thinking of scaling your business.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to make the investment. There was a period of time where I said, man, if I take all this money, this is good, right? Mm-hmm. But I knew where I wanted to go, right? Mm-hmm. So I reinvest it, build that company and that machine around you, and your life's going to be so much better. But you've got to make that decision because too many people take the money. And don't do that.
Yep,
So.
I love it, man. Great answer. I want to talk to you about the money is question here. We got a sign from for Glenn Stormberg here,
very cool.
And so I'm going to give you the board here. Money is blank, meaning what does money mean to you? You fill out your answer or words, whatever it is here, and then sign it right here, and then me and you can have a conversation about it.
Sounds great. And what's today's date? 8th?
8th, July 8th. There you go.
All
right, here we go. Glenn Stormberg, CEO and founder of Stormberg Investment Group. Answer for money is money is neutral. Is that right?
Sure, yep.
Money is neutral.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that word. I'm trying to think. This is my favorite part of the show. I'm trying to think. That may be the only time I've been given that word, neutral.
Awesome.
I think it's the first. I love it when it's the first time. So I think it's the first time I've been given the word. Why don't you put neutral? What does that mean? Money is neutral.
Neutral because money. Okay, money can be used for really, really good stuff. Ministries, helping people, feeding people. All kind. We all need money to live, right? And it can be used for very, very bad stuff.
Yep.
Drugs, whatever, you name it, right? So money is totally neutral, right? And I always think the Bible says this: the love of money is the root of all evil. Mm-hmm. And I've seen the love of money ruin a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Okay, so from the bad side, right?
Yep.
And then when you finally realize that it's all a gift anyway, it's all a gift from God, and it's like I say, when you use it for good, I always challenge people too. You'll feel better about yourself, and feel better about what you're doing. So money is neutral. It can be used for good or bad.
It's such a true answer here of what money is, and I think a lot of times people miss this point of it. And I give the illustration of this. I could take a $100 bill out of my pocket, and that's a $100 bill, older, whatever, 10 years old, been floating around, right? And you got to think about this. That $100 bill has passed through so many people's hands, right? Mm-hmm. And that money has been used for one or two things. what you just talked about, right? That $100 bill could have been used. I'm going to give you an example here. We donated money to Tim Ballard, who is the founder of Operation Underground Railroad, who prevents sex trafficking of children, right? Which is the insanely massive that you wouldn't even believe. I know you do, but what goes on in that world, right? So this $100 bill, though, could be used to help save a kid's life from sex trafficking. And on that same $100 bill, in a different scenario 6 years later, could be used to purchase a kid to sex traffic. Yes. The same $100 bill, right? The same one. Right. And that's why I absolutely love the word money is neutral, because money is just that. It's just sitting there. It's up to us where that money goes or does not go. Yeah. It's neutral. It's going to go wherever you tell it to go, right? You're in full control of that money right there. It is sitting in neutral, and you got to put it one way, reverse or forward, right? And such a true answer that money is neutral. It just sits there until you tell it what to go do. It doesn't go do it by itself. Right. It does not do it by itself. It only does it when someone tells it to go do something, right? And it's crazy when you think about the money in your pocket of what it could have been used for, one or the other, but it's good or bad. But it's controlled by us, you know what I mean? Absolutely. And last point there, you made the reference of the Bible verse, which is in the New Testament. It talks about the money, the love of money, is the root of all evil. And if you grew up in any type of religious home, that verse can be used a lot in child rearing.
And so many people misuse that verse.
Yeah, completely misuse it.
They think money is the root. Money is not the root of all evil. Mm-hmm. It's the lust of money is the root of all evil, right? Mm-hmm. When you finally get it to where you understand, no, money is not evil. Money is necessary. Mm-hmm. Money is 100%. We all need money to live, but it's the love of money that takes people down, and that's. Yeah. And what's crazy is when they talk about that verse, a lot of times they leave off the first part of it, right? And they use it as money's the root of all evil, and it's not what it says. It says the love of money, and then you can start diving into the Hebrew definition of what that love means right there. There's different levels of love in the Hebrew language. But if you back up, there's another verse that I find that is never ever talked about, which is in Ecclesiastes. Old Testament now, is in Ecclesiastes, and it talks about, there's a verse that says, money answereth all things. now that's a tricky one. Wait a second. It says, money answereth all things. Yeah. And I'm a ponderer. I love to, because I'm a visionary, so I love to just ponder things. And I have pondered that verse right there more than I can think about. And it's true. If you talk about, think about this, if you talk about world hunger, right? Right. Okay. You know what's going to solve? Guarantee it's going to take one thing, for sure one thing, to solve world hunger. You know what that is? Money. Money, absolutely. You want to solve clean water in the world? Okay. Take money. It will take one thing for sure. Yeah. It will take money, right? And you can just start naming things. And when it says answer, it means that means there has to be a problem, and here's the answer to that problem, right? You can name all these problems that are out there, and when you track all these problems down, CMI, right? CMI. It's trying to solve a problem. Why do I donate to it? Because my money can help answer the problem that's there, right? Absolutely. And I love it just because we always talk about the root of all evil, root of all evil, root of all evil, and then over here it talks about, but money answereth all things. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when is the last time you heard someone talk about that verse? With children or whatever it is as they're growing up, you know. Right. My youth camp never talked about but money answers all things. It never mentioned that one for us. It's money's gotten a bad rap. Yeah. It really has. Well, I did the show. It's like it's got this bad rap to it. And you know, like I say, when you finally realize, like I say, there is a 100% chance we're all going to die. Yep, 100% chance, guaranteed. And guess what? You ain't taking any of it with you anyway, right? So you know when you really get that into your brain, okay, well yeah, let's use it for good. Yep. Let's use it for good, and let's see if we can help some people along the way, because you're not taking it with you, right? Yep. You're not taking it with you. It's 100%. I'll leave on this point right here. I think in business, I think it takes 3 words to great businesses, which is. I've always said is connections. It's getting around the right people who are your 5 closest friends, because you're gonna be the number 6 one of them, right? So it's connections. Who do you know? It's why I love to do the show, and it's why I always do the show in person. I've never ever done a Zoom on this show, because if I do, and I'm not saying there's not value in that, but it's not the value that I'm looking for. Understand. The value that I'm looking for is I want a connection. There's something about being together. Yes, there's human connection, right? No doubt about it. So there's connections. Number 2, I think, is collaborations.
it's when people are getting together and they start putting what you do and what I do together, and they start looking at how these collaborate and how it works and what's the pluses and negatives of a collaboration of what's going on. And then third, I always say, is a cause. You have to have a cause that's bigger than you.
Absolutely.
If not, that's how you get into the root of all evil, is the love of it, right? And when there's not a cause that's bigger than you, the cause becomes money. And if the cause is money, you got a big problem, right? And so for us, the cause is for us. I've already said it. Tim Ballard, huge proponent of Tim and trying to stop sex trafficking and how that works.
No greater cause than that.
And I'll never forget this last thing that on this. What I always say is connections, collaborations, and calls. And then one of my members of the Power Room, named Ray Perez, was on the show with me, and he said, "Dude, I'm gonna challenge you," because he said, and I believe to really have success, cause has to be the first one. If you lead with your value, that's your true value. If you lead with that value of cause and then connections, collaborations, he said, I think it goes that way. Cause shouldn't be the end; it should be the main driving force at the beginning of it. And I thought, man, what a great understanding of how that should work. Absolutely. Inside of it. So, Glenn, love having the show, man. Could talk to you all day long. Love your niche market, man. What a niche, beautiful, and right at the right time of where the market is with affordable housing and how that works. I mean, you've already had great growth. Just my opinion, I just see massive growth coming your way.
We do too.
Of where the market's at and where everything is headed. I know, like I said, you already did 500 plus properties with it, but I think you're just scratching the surface of what you got going on there. So totally a pleasure to meet you. And
I appreciate that. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be on the show. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much. You guys watching, I appreciate you watching The Money Is Show. We'll see you next week with another guest from The Money Is Show.